Welcome to Style Esports Season 14. My name is Llama. I am casting today alongside All Out Potato for day one of the new ranked season, but it is Season 14 for Style Esports. We're about to get into draft underway. Potato, we're back.
Yeah, absolutely. New season, new games coming on, and I'm very excited to see these two teams get a matchup to start our season off.
Yeah, new teams as well, for both of us here. These are not teams that I don't think really have been featured either in style or on stream before. Already we got some pink supporters coming in the chat here, HSG getting some representation. So y'all probably know some of these teams even better than we do, but we are excited to share all about them as we're learning, seeing what kind of picks they're pulling out to start the season. And hopefully get a great game on our hands here this series. It's a best of three we're going to be celebrating here tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw a very exciting end to the end of the last competitive season with best of five going all the way in the finals and some really competitive games. So I'm hoping for more of the same here, hoping that HSG and Cosmic Paradox both show us some great gameplay tonight.
Yeah, that's what I hope too here. Just so all viewers at home, if you're just tuning in and you saw that Style is live and you want to know more about these teams too, it looks like both of these teams seem to be around kind of the mid-gold kind of cap here. It looks like, some gold, silver players from last season. I mean, granted, it's new season, anything can happen here. But Cosmic Paradox, Taj, their top laner, looks like they're one of the top players here at Gold 3. Finesse Kermit and Big Twink, their mid and support are both Gold 2. And on the opposite end here, looks like highest level, I'm seeing Slatty there. Looks like they're Platinum 3 ADC. So that's kind of where I expect to see some of the action coming, hopefully, around their bot side here. But just so you know, kind of some low plat, high gold gameplay happening for today here on the Rift. And I still hope to see some competitive League of Legends for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. HSG does look like the stronger team on paper. Their members are a bit higher ranked in solo queue, but when it comes to competitive, a lot of it is going to come around team coordination, how well the teams come together, how well the decision making is. I know from personal experience, I've had some higher ranked teammates kind of get stopped by a group of silvers playing well. So really anything can happen, and really looking forward to see what these teams will bring for us.
Yes, absolutely. And it looks like there might be just a bug with the spectate link here. So we are going to hope that we can switch that link up here quickly. You'll notice one of the logos here is Cosmic Paradox. They don't have a logo, so it is placeholder there. But HSG, as you said, is actually, it's established organization. They got a couple of teams playing in this league, both blue as well as pink here. So as you said, it's some of that synergy working together. If these players have been playing for a while, that is awesome. That can build so much synergy between both of these teams here. Let's see. Is this a new draft link here? Looks like that might not be the one that I got, at least. I do see it coming in. Oh, let me just... Oh, seen a Rayleigh ban. Is that what you're seeing in front of you there too, Potato?
I might need a refresh real quick. I'm seeing a link that ends in BHI as the most.
Yeah, that's what I had too, but that's not what I'm seeing we're banning off. Is new link? I think teams are just as confused as we are, Potato, here, because I'm not seeing either of these draft links going. So test a new link. HSG is ready. Okay, hopefully that new link is ready to go. Okay,
yeah.
Maybe, okay, I just want to make sure that I did have, in fact, the updated link and that we're not confused, because I think for some reason maybe they both had the same link. I don't know. It's, it's one of their first games back as well. It's working. Okay.
Yeah, it looks like draft is getting underway. Okay, now
I'm seeing there's the timer. That's what we wanted to see.
There we go. There we go. Alrighty, so Aurelia taken out already on the first ban. We see Auction, Renekton, and Pyke coming off of these teams as well. So we think, like, are these teams, are they trying to target more what they think is stronger kind of on the season? Or are they trying to target any particular individuals?
Yeah, it's probably more of these kind of specific jungle matchups or just like lane matchups and pairings here. The Cosmic Paradox, their support is actually known as a Soraka player. And so it looks like they don't want to play into the Pyke. I do wonder if HSG Pink... No, they just say we don't even worry about the Soraka. So Big Twink, if they want it, as that support, can take 111 games they had just in the preseason on this Soraka pick. So Actually, it might have been even last season, but I mean, regardless, over 100 games. Next most 47. This is definitely a player that feels comfortable in the champion, and so we'll see if they go for that early. But I mean, Mordekaiser lock in. I mean, that feels like something that Nerd Max is going to be piloting in the jungle. They're most played with a 65% win rate over 50 games last season.
Yeah, it looks like most of the players on Cosmic Paradox do have a nice set of comfort champions that they seem most familiar with. And I think this is pretty common uh, for these amateur leagues where we see a lot of times bans, especially early on in the season before they've had a chance to see competitive history, when they're just scouting out opposing players, seeing, what are they doing best on a solo queue, take out away some of these comfort picks. So it seems like draft is going underway in that manner, and Gragas picked up as a response on R1 for the side of HSG.
Yeah, it is curious to see. I mean, again, this is where like some of the analysis breaks down just a little bit, I think, Potato, because as you named, so many of these players playing toward their comfort more than like meta responses or like what's the strongest right now. And like a Gragas Bard 1-2 pairing, like that's gotta signal towards some comfort. Toby Larone in the top lane had quite a bit of Gragas that they have played. And so, must just feel comfortable on that, as well as the support pairing. Must like the Bard into some of these Enchanter supports that we've seen Big Twink really favor in the bot lane.
Yeah, and Gragas, no, mostly as a kind of like neutralizing pick against a lot of the strong top laners, can provide a lot of presence either in the front line as a disruption tool, or sometimes, with the AP pick and some good mechanics can really one-shot carries as well. The ultimate definitely can have a pretty big impact. Bard, one of those very interesting champions. I've seen some Bards just absolutely take over a game, having presence everywhere across the map. So we'll see if we might get a little bit of that. And Jinx Seraphine coming through for Cosmic.
Yeah, Jinx Seraphine. I mean, that's a pretty common kind of hyper scaling with Enchanter lane. Slatty, already someone in chat saying no Slatty bans, GG, and that Jinx 4.33 KDA Potato. 64 games on this Jinx champion. So, I mean, they're just saying, let's go for that aggression. Let's go for the scaling. Let's go for comfort. I mean, but aggression, I mean, that's the other side. That Draven locked in. I mean, man, that's got to be something that they want to take. Did I get these teams mixed up too? Oh, I guess Jinx may have been takeaway actually after seeing that KDA. I think it actually is Cosmic Paradox's team picking up the Jinx and taking it away from Slatty. So they go the aggression with the Draven.
Yeah, it looks like it's a pretty highly played champion for both sides. I'm thinking they might have seen the Bard saying, like, this may not necessarily be the highest lane pressure champion. Let's take two scalers. I mean, with the Mordekaiser, if these three champions are going to get later on in the game, they can definitely be forced to reckon with. But Draven Bard absolutely has a lot of kill potential down in that bot lane. Trying to respond to these two scaling picks and saying, I don't want you to get to the late game for free.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The damage and the range and, like you're saying that, try to punish early. But the Bard, I do feel like is a little bit off, in terms of pairing with Draven. As you know, as you just named, like Draven wants to be fighting early, getting ahead early, playing aggression, in the bot lane. And, Bard does have the range. They have this kind of poke damage. They have some stun and CC as well, some sustain. But Bard still wants to move around the map, get those chimes, really start stacking up around the map. But Draven does not want to be in a 1v2 lane, even against scaling champions like Jinx and Seraphine. I mean, it just feels like, you just got to try to win early enough that Bard can roam and Draven can 1v2.
Yeah, we'll see if that 1v2 does come out. I know when some of the changes to the red tree and runes first came out, when they came out with Treasure Hunter, people were saying Draven was really becoming a big threat because once he gets going, the additional gold income on top of everything else just gets to walk around and kind of one-shot everybody. So we'll see if that becomes a reality down in the bot lane. I mean, on HSG's draft so far, there's a lot of pick potential, a lot of burst potential coming out on that team. And Cosmic Paradox responding with the Kassadin into presumably an Akali here.
Yeah, I mean, that's just really solidifying Cosmic Paradox as the scaling team. Seeing Jinx, Kassadin, like when those are your damage dealers, they want this game to go to 50 minutes. Now, Tahm Kench looks like the lock-in. Maybe it's a top lane here for Cosmic to round out their draft.
Yeah, looks like it. We do see on the side of Cosmic that Nerd Max Mordekaiser is most likely going into the jungle. So this is going to be a very interesting matchup here. Cosmic Paradox is saying, maybe you might be the stronger players on paper, but maybe you don't have what it takes to just close out the game decisively. We're going to have this late game insurance. And if you let us go late enough and don't pick up enough advantages throughout the map, then we're going to take advantage of that. And Darius coming out as the final counter pick for that top lane.
Yeah, that Darius, that does solidify, as you said, going to the top lane. I presume, I mean, Darius can jungle, but Toby Larone, 177 games, 3 times more games on that champion than the second most played this past season. So I highly expect that it's going to actually be Fnatic Mike piloting the Gragas in this game. But yeah, Darius, that's comfort. He saw the entire composition. Nothing banned against Toby Larone after that first half. So just happy to take comfort here in the top lane matchup.
Yeah, it does make sense. Mordekaiser, Cassidy, and Tahm Kench, 3 big, beefy melee people that gets Darius the stacking going on. If he gets that backline access, can absolutely take over a fight. And we see a lot of different threats coming out on the side of HSG. Draven, Akali, Darius, 3 champions that, if they get ahead, are all big threats on the side of Cosmic Paradox, and especially Jinx as a rather immobile carry will have to be very careful in these team fights and how they're positioning if Cosmic want to come out ahead here.
Yeah, and like you said, 3 champions that can all be menaces if ahead and also do very little if they're behind. We'll have to see how big of an advantage, if any, HSG Pink will be able to get in this early game, because going even against some of these scaling players, Cassidy level 16, Jinx 3 and 4 items, like, it can be very, very challenging to match this late game damage if like Akali, Draven, Darius are not ahead going into the mid game.
Yeah, and, you know, Akali, Draven, Darius, these champions not known for the longest range on their side. If Jinx, everything, you know, if they're able to keep themselves protected and kite out successfully, it can spell bad news for HSG as well. So we'll just have to see how, you know, how the individual players will be able to pilot their champions and who's going to get the better of the opponents.
Yeah, we'll have to see here. I mean, we are just getting locked in here now on the Rift, and we are at a point where we're about to take just about a 3-minute break. However, prediction is live for game 1 of this best of 3 tonight. So as we are seeing champions getting locked in on the Rift and loadouts are being prepared, we want to know what you in the chat, where you're put your money where your mouth is, drop some predictions in the chat, decide who is going to win game 1 between Cosmic Paradox and HSG Pink. And on the other side of a 40-second break and a 3-minute spectator delay, we're going to find out too. So stay where you're at and get those predictions locked in. We'll see you in a moment. Thanks for bearing with us for our spectator delay. We are getting onto the Rift for game number 1 of this best of 3 between HSG Pink and Cosmic Paradox. There's a pause in the game, but looks like we're getting right back into it.
Yeah, pause right away. It looks like Fnatic Mike might be a little bit late in connecting here, but you know, Big Twink also on the other side, also just staying in base, so maybe a bit of collection issues on both sides. But it looks like all players are heading out on the Rift now. Just got a bit of a standard 5-point spread to cover this level 1.
Yep. And gratefully, you know, everyone is connected into the game, and hopefully we won't be getting too many of those pauses. But you know, yep, as you said, kind of standard start here, and pretty standard across the board with summoner spells. I'm not seeing anything too crazy. What I do notice, Gloomy and Big Twink opted for double defensive summoners there with the exhaust on Jinx and then heal on Seraphine, going against Ignite and Cleanse. So, I mean, it lets me know that like Slatty and Bazing are trying to win this game, play aggressively, and Gloomy and Big Twink just want to like absorb the damage being thrown at them.
Yeah, and it kind of seems that all of the players on HSG are looking to play pretty aggressively here. We see double TP on the side of Cosmic, but no TPs on the side of HSG. We have Darius coming in with the Ghost for that teamfight presence. Akali with the early Ignite wanting to take advantage of the Cassidy and Draven, with the Cleanse to get rid of any exhaust and other ultimate pressure that Seraphine might come through. So yeah, the members of HSG definitely looking to get the early advantages and shut down potential scaling from Cosmic.
Yeah, but look at that, already level 1, Gloomy taking some autos from the axes there. Bazing landed that first stun, and man, already that health potion is popped. But hey, they started with like 6 potions in this lane, so they're happy just to farm up a little bit here.
Yeah, showing the value of this bush control, and yeah, Bazing just absolutely kind of destroying the side of Cosmic bot lane here. This Bard not letting up on the pressure. Ignite still available as well, so Cosmic is going to have to play really respectfully here. Losing that early set of health is not going to be good for them, especially with Gragas looking to path bot side early as well.
Yeah, and I think this really just, as we named before, knowing the aggression from this bot lane, is naming that Bazing and Slatty really playing to the win condition, cheesing that bush level 1, getting that early stun out, auto-attacking and harassing some of these health potions they're sitting on. Now Seraphine already chugged all their potions and their biscuit and are less than half health. Like, really great HSG, like, heads up play to be able to just get the pressure early down onto this bot lane and stop that scaling early, not letting them, like you said, scale into this mid game for free.
Yeah, and Jinx only able to pick up a single CS out of the first 2 waves. So this is, if you're on the side of Draven Bard, this is exactly what you want to be seeing with the aggression that your champion picks afford you in the early game.
Yeah, and that's definitely the bot lane where my eyes are for sure this game. The mid lane is a melee versus melee matchup, so I do expect it to be less juicy, at least until Akali hits that level 6 ultimate. And then when that perfect execution is available, she might be looking for some more plays. And I mean, top lane, yes, Darius needs early advantages and wants to get some early pressure, but against Tahm Kench, that pressure is a little lower.
Yeah, and HSG really just the ones to take over all of the bot lane pressure this game. With Mordekaiser pathing top 2, it's going to be a while before he can path back down and offer any assistance for his team. So for now, Gloomy and Big Twink, they're just going to be kind of on their own, as have a bit of another disconnect here.
Yeah, so looks like the support actually might need to restart their PC here, having frames really bad. I mean, after those first 4 minutes of this game, it does not seem like those frames were too low. But I mean, absolutely deny that, but that might mean that we're waiting on a restart.
Yeah, some frame perfect cosmic bindings there, and also really just showing the power of what you get for that bush control. We see in professional games a lot of times both bot laners will just head on down, get those early sweepers, those early wards down on that most advanced bush to prevent plays like what we just saw. And we see how much of an advantage it can give a team in the early game here by doing so.
Yeah, I mean, you named that CS difference. They're 23-8 right now in the bot lane. I mean, top is completely matched. Both junglers as well took their 6 camps in one of the opposite side scuttles. So, like, it's even there. Mid lane as well. The lane's pushing into Cassian. So, Finesse Kermit is losing just a little bit there. But, I mean, man, 400 gold difference. That's all on Slatty here in the bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jinx Seraphine, these are not the champions that are able to punish the Draven Bard that much early on here. Like, Seraphine does have some long range poke, but has to be very careful. If any of these champs get caught by a single ability, it's gonna be most of their HP chunked out, just like we saw. So it could be, you know, after a back, if they're able to get a good back here, can reset the lane state a little bit. I'm also kind of curious to see what Draven will build. If Draven decides to go for an early Borg, for example, or early Dirk to push the advantage here, it can be very, very threatening onto Cosmic Spot Lane.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And some of this itemization on those marksmen is interesting. And Draven is one that I think does have some interesting build paths, like you've alluded to here, right? Is it going to be a Cosmic Dirk? Cosmic Dirk? Is it going to be a serrated Dirk? A Cosmic Insight, you know, that'd be wild. Right, for this kind of build, they have opted for the Keystone to be a lethal tempo, so trying to build up some of those stacks. But it also means you don't need that much attack speed on Draven. Tier 2 boots, getting those Berserker Greaves is typically enough. And gratefully with the game on pause, we are back into it. But, I mean, yeah, these kind of early game, I mean, you can be chunking out Seraphine and Jinx here, but now Nerd Max looking to make a play on Envy early, forces the flash out.
Yeah, ghosting in here, getting that flash advantage, hoping to alleviate a bit of the pressure onto casting here. So nice early gank, but is not going to find anything on the bot side. Scuttle is already taken. He's going to have to either take it back or start back on his second rotation of camps.
Yeah, a little bit of a freeze as the game's getting back in. And I mean, Toby Larone just trading aggressively on the Taj, used the great health there. And looks like Mordekaiser just sussing out a little bit of vision, some pings going down. So is being tracked from HSG. But like you said, just going to be Nerd Max using the Ghost and now just looking maybe for a second rotation bot side now.
Yeah, Darius definitely doing his fair share of bullying in the top lane as well, but Tahm Kench, a very resilient champion, sort of hard to get out of lane, and his dueling potential later on is nothing to sniff at either, but Fnatic Mike is starting to peep a bit of interest in this top, potentially looking for a dive here onto the low health Tahm Kench.
Does have Predator boots too.
Yeah, but
But
doesn't look like he's
no.
going to quite commit onto it. And now bot lane does have the wave push all the way into tower. Could potentially look for a reset angle here. Doesn't seem like they're going to quite take it. That Nerd Max is here briefly on the bot side to try and cover, see if there is any action going on. And Gragas taking a bit of a sit in the top mid lane bush before heading back onto his camps as well.
Yeah, Slatty had the serrated dirt gold. Is sitting currently on 1200 gold. Maybe is looking for a Doom Quiver early, but I kind of almost would have liked to leave that lane state frozen and go in and reset on this cannon wave now. Now would be the time, but I mean, Slatty and Bazing just want to keep the pressure up. With this cannon, I expect them to shove this wave and then get a reset off from the bot lane because we're starting to hit that key point in this where first backs are going to start coming across the map, whether from deaths or otherwise, hopefully. You know, gratefully, that's going to be a big spike here for Slatty, even getting some of that gold. If they can get an early gold spend. And just like we were saying, going to shove that wave out and look to get it back.
Yeah, and Gloomy and Big Twink, despite the early health disadvantage, are back up to full now, so do have a chance of picking up some more resources now that the lane state is a little bit less dire. And I am also really looking at these first resets for the bot lane to see if that lane advantage early on can be transitioned into an item advantage and allow them to continue bullying like they did in the early game. But we see they're instead going to use their prio, try and help Fnatic Mike pick up this first early Ocean Dragon.
Yeah, and if I'm the bot lane here of HSG, I'm just letting Mike just take this for free. There's no way you're going to have any kind of response. Slatty has got to get off. You mentioned that gold or that difference, item difference there, 1,700 to almost 2,200 there. So it is like 500 gold difference bot lane. I mean, that's a kill and a half just by having that. So now Slatty taking that reset, yeah, and I mean, you know, it's not as significant at this point. We're not seeing a cashed in Draven, but Draven, even on this first reset already, does already have 158 adoration stacks. So that is actually, could be quite a bit of gold, right? You're getting an extra 2.5 gold per stack. So there's an extra 400 gold if you can cash that in, as well as the execute damage from the Whirling Death if they hit that level 6 and have some kill pressure.
Yeah, and we do see the early dirt coming out, so that's suggesting to me we're probably going to see the Eclipse selected as the mythic. But on the other side, Jinx, despite getting bullied out pretty hard early on, does back with just enough to pick up the Noon Quiver, and that's going to be very helpful in continuing to collect resources. And if we come out of this laning phase with like a 20 CS deficit going into the mid game, that's actually not the worst thing if you're that Jinx Seraphine bot lane.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, so much of our attention early game was focused on HSG because of their aggressive summoner spells, their aggressive builds, their aggressive items. But we can't fault, you know, Cosmic Paradox for playing their game. Going down a little bit of farm in this early game, trying to heal up and maybe get a little bit of poke, get the farm you can, go into the mid game a little bit behind and use the scaling advantage they have built into their composition.
Yeah, and we see Bard here starting to take a little bit of health here to the Seraphine. Seraphine kind of starting to flex the range advantage a little bit as well. But we do see both sides of the HSG bot lane hitting level 6 now, so that is another threat. And on the other side, if we turn our look to mid lane, we see Kassadin is starting to build a bit of a CS lead onto Akali as well. So that's something that Cosmic is definitely going to appreciate.
It is, and also Kassadin's going to really appreciate this Rod of Age changes here. Patch 13.1 did just drop and is live right now, and so meanwhile bot lane.
Yep, Bazing showing his value again, mistiming the Q after the ulti, so Gloomy and Big Twink are going to try and survive, is able to do so. So finding a great ultimate onto Gloomy there, but not quite able to find the Q follow-up on the timing. We see Fnatic Mike is making his way down here. If I'm Cosmic bot lane, I'm thinking you have to just give this wave up. Fnatic Mike looking straight onto Gloomy is going to use the exhaust. Barrel is going to hit and secure it.
Bazing, they want to get this to Slatty.
Yeah, they do. But Slatty taking the tower here. He's going to get traded back a bit of a mis-executed tower dive in terms of aggro generation. But Draven, and doesn't even pick up the kill either. So really could have gone a little bit better there. But Envy, as a trade, does get to find the mid lane kill, as Toblerone is trying to collapse onto that Nerd Max. The Rift Herald is going to go down onto the side of Max. Tosh here, ready to bail out his jungler, got the dive out, and is going to get away with an absolute steal of a Rift Herald.
Yeah, that was just came in and snatched it there. Man, you Slatty though. I mean, I gotta bring back to Slatty. We got some Slatty stands in the chat, and I mean, this guy's down to 53 adoration stacks, dove the tower, took the aggro, didn't give over a kill, but lost other stacks and didn't get the cash in. They could have been just a little bit more patient, killing Big Twink under tower. But instead, Slatty lost their life for it. Granted, no kills given over, so I mean, it's hard to fault a team that went 3-0 in the exchange, but maybe just a certain level of dominance saying, hey, I'll just die to the tower. I don't even need that adoration gold.
Yeah, speaking of dominance, Tosh here trying to get a little bit of winning back for the early bullying he received coming in with the execution, Noxian and Guillotine, just taking down Tahm Kench, punishing him for the aggressive dive in, and that's going to be the first kill going over to Darius.
Yeah, Taj made a great play, first saving the jungler nerd Max, but they were not done. Slatty in trouble.
Yeah, Slatty in trouble indeed, is going to get charmed into the Jinx traps. This is probably going to be a kill pickup for Gloomy, but Gloomy doesn't have the flash, and the splash from the Death Rocket just barely missing out. Envy now aggressing onto that nerd Max. That is probably going to be the execution damage coming out. Is going to do so. Another pickup for the Akali, and those are everything going the way of HSG. A game of inches just missing out there tragically for Cosmic Spot Lane.
Now, Finesse Kermit, they might be the next one to look to fall. They want to get a kill for themselves, though. No kills on the board yet for Cosmic, and this isn't going to be the first one for them yet either. I mean, I thought for sure Slatty was going down, taking tower shots under tower, but Slatty Daddy still came out on top and lived.
Yeah, and we see a lot of these looks from both teams. I do like the decision-making here. Rewinding all the way back, we see the Bush camp from the Bard, looking for the OTs on the immobile carry. Just one of the big benefits of Bard on this pick here. Does get it. Unfortunately, misses the follow-up Q, doesn't quite get the stun. But the junglers here looking for the dive. I love to see that. Gets the pickup on the Jinx, but Draven just a little bit impatient going in for that tower dive early, isn't quite able to pick it up and trades his life in response. Top lane, Tahm Kench actually getting taken down again for the second time, falling to the Darius here, and that can definitely be a problem for Cosmic's team as well.
But so can this.
Yeah, in fact, it's going to be two people crashing the Rift Herald, getting in a good chunk of gold, but that Nerd Max now isolated in a 1v3 is going to get the Death Realm onto Fnatic Mike, but is unlikely to get the trade in time. Fnatic Mike is going to hand over the kill to Envy, and that's a 3-0 Akali, a 2-0 Darius. These solo laners are looking to be very, very strong coming into this mid game.
Yeah, all 5 members from Cosmic Paradox have hit their gravestones at least once this game. 0 kills for their entire team. Bazing keeping the aggression. Mike is here too.
Yeah, Bazing doesn't want this play to be over, and neither does Mike. An excellent Everfrost, giving the gold over to Slatty, giving the payoff for these adoration stacks as these members are going to turn and look to secure Dragon number 2.
Yeah, great second dragon there, and Slatty now on the board themselves, picking up their first kill, getting the shutdown, and making it in here. 8 kills. This was the advantage we wanted to see them build some of in the early game. I thought that ultimately Cosmic Paradox was doing a good job at stopping the snowball from happening, and then just like that, the avalanche has hit, and now we're in an entire snowstorm, it feels like, because all these players that needed to get ahead have so far. And Finesse Kermit is a ways away from that level 16, and Jinx still yet on 1 item.
Yeah, Cosmic definitely very far from their power spikes from the time when they are going to be comfortably pulling out a lead in any sort of team fights. And we saw, despite a lot of very close engagements early on, just small things made it consistently turn in the favor of HSG. Some individual outplays, as well as some great team movements, getting them what is now going to be a 5,000 gold lead at 14 minutes, which is certainly pretty significant, especially into a scaling comp. It's going to be a little hard to get that to scale.
Yeah, and across the board, every single lane winning. The top lane up nearly 2,300 gold just themselves. This Draven with those couple of kills now sitting on nearly 6,300 gold themselves. And I mean, across the board is just the same. Another 2,000 in the support or in the ADC role too. So that's where we're seeing the biggest difference. Finesse Kermit still holding on, at least in the mid lane, even though Envy does not have his does have 3 kills, has not ballooned that lead, but might have a 4th.
Yeah, Envy waiting patiently for that Rift Walk and is going to expertly take it down. Just a wonderful display of how to play Akali here is now 4-0, an absolute threat. And this is going to be the bot lane tower going down as well. Mr. Slatty picking it up.
Yeah, Slatty's starting to get unleashed here, and so is all of HSG. 2 dragons, 2 towers. Only the mid lane outer tower still alive, and already pings coming down. Slatty rotating up through the mid lane, seeing their Akali bot. But now with numbers on the map, we got to see if Cosmic makes something happen. But Toby Larone just sidestepping out of there, and now he's got help himself.
Yeah, trading Ghost for Ghost just misses the pull, but here is Fnatic Mike. Nerd Max does take Toby Larone into the Death Realm, is going to get a bit of a 1v1 here. Tahm Kench going to eat up the Darius, but here's Bazing for the reinforcements. An excellent stopwatch from Mike to live that, and it is now all HSG coming on. Kermit going to get dunked by the barrel. Mike going to pick that up. The Death Rocket not enough to pick up the kill in response. That's going to be the second Rift Herald and a good 3 kills going on to the side of HSG once more.
Yeah, it feels like this game is going from bad to worse. Gratefully not a shutout because the first Rift Herald was taken from that Nerd Max early on, but no kills, no towers, no dragons, and starting to get towards no hope because, man, Toby Larone outplaying that fight and had the team collapse. Bazing somehow got all the way up there, and I'm still waiting to see if Cosmic Paradox can break onto the scoreboard.
Yeah, and it's now 9,000 gold at 16 minutes. We hear usually a stomp is 500 gold per minute. This is exceeding that definition by a healthy margin. All the outer towers starting to fall. HSG with good map control, moving their pieces around as they need to in that top lane conflict. People arriving in a very timely manner. Leads everywhere across the map. It's looking a little rough if you're a Cosmic fan.
Yeah, it is. And like you said, there is still scaling opportunities. Like, I don't want to say because they're down now it's bad, but Nerd Max seems to be thinking a 1v4 is a good idea, and it is not, buddy. You cannot be doing that. You got a Jack show, and they got 4 members. So getting Jack show is a little bit like just having Jack at this point. Like, man, there's no show going on. The only show is him dying.
Yeah, no,
it's not a very good one.
Running into Bazing, thinking he can 1v1 the support, but HSG just have the map control, have the ability to rotate all their members around, and now it's 4 people in the mid lane trying to take down this tower. Rift Herald dropped already. This could be 1, maybe even 2 towers falling. A potentially big team fight coming in as well. We'll see if Cosmic decide to try and contest this. First charge is going to take the tower. Mike in an aggressive position. There's the Bard ulti, catching 2. Look for Jinx here. Gloomy is going to flash out and survive just a little bit longer. And here is Taj on the backside. Kermit going to barely live. That Nerd Max does pull in Bazing, but is able to flash away. And now Max is going to almost pay for his life. A nice eat, devour from Taj, going to save his teammate. Both teams surviving with no one going down, but that is the tower going to HSG, and they are going to turn their attention to the dragon, getting in these resets and looking for Soul Point here.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, surprising being at this much of a deficit to not lose any members. They had to use some flashes, Gloomy flash, Big Twink flashed, you know, so we saw a lot of these going down in ultimates too, but to keep all your members alive and hold on to your inner, you're never going to be able to contest this dragon, but ultimately not the worst. So I think they did a good job at least mitigating that. However, the mitigation strategies are going to start running out, because we got 5 members down here. Like you said, Soul Point. The Baron's going to hit the Rift in just over a minute as well. And I mean, if you're not fighting for Soul and you're not fighting for Baron, it's hard to fight for much in this game. It's looking like it's going to be a little challenging.
Yeah, certainly some good mechanical execution there to stay alive, but that is all your tools expended, right? You don't have the flashes on your carry anymore. You don't have the Devour. And it is looking like a question for how Cosmic is going to find a way back into this game with this kind of scaling comp. I mean, here Jinx and Tahm Kench don't even have mythics coming out this early into the game. So where are they going to find the trade? Where are they going to find the gold income? They want it to be top lane to find the tower here, but Akali's here, Envy is here, Slatty is here, and Envy,
here comes Bazing too.
I believe is going to just be able to take the 1v2, even if they don't have the advantage of their teammates. Max forced the Ghost out away. The the Bard OT is going to miss. Fnax Kermit trying desperately to run away. Envy holding on to E2 until the Rift Walk comes through. Once again, displaying excellent patience. Mid lane, Gloomy also just about to get soloed out by Fnatic. Mike here is going to let the tower take the kill. That's a bit stylish here. All right, Mike, we see ya. Yeah, so HSG really getting everything they want on the map here.
Oh, it is in the name, Style Esports, and there was Fnatic Mike dropping that cask, not looking at an explosion, and letting the tower finish off Gloomy. Gloomy's got to feel a little gloomy at this point in this game, and I mean, you said maybe there's some ways for them to get back into it, but like they just can never get members anywhere. They're way too split up across the map. If you're Cosmic Paradox, you got to send like 4 or 5 members to a side lane. Akali, Draven do not like fighting 4v1. Maybe at this point they start to can, but I mean, they still have enough numbers here. There's still a numbers disadvantage, and now NerdMax is gone.
Yeah, Envy just showing up this game, absolutely styling on these people with the Akali. Zing says, hey, Taj, go back to your tower. And we see 4 members once again collapsing now, this time on towards the bottom tower, looking for another push here. And I expect very soon here we're going to see more inner towers falling, the Baron potentially in the eyes of HSG here, and it just looks like Cosmic is going to have a little bit of trouble trying to find a response. Bazing and Kermit kind of scuffling out a little bit, but Cosmic just have to be so careful. Anywhere they walk, they have no vision in their own jungle. It's going to be so difficult to try and contest anything.
They're also not really walking around or moving around the map as 5. Like, that's where maybe you can get your little quadrant or your little space to try to get a pick or someone who's unaware here. But now it looks like 4 towers have been taken, 3 dragons themselves. The Baron, his spawn is on the Rift. But NerdMax is just walking up by themselves to try to get vision. And here's Envy kind of waiting around in the bushes here. But like, without a team, and NerdMax, I don't think they're going to live for very long without a flash, without a ghost, now getting collapsed on. NerdMax, you can't do this by yourself, buddy.
Yeah, just without the support of any teammates. And Slatty here is probably just going to straight up get the 1v1 in the Death Realm, is looking to do so. Oh, the Death Rocket almost taking down Slatty there, but is not going to be able to find the kill. And yeah, Max just repeatedly finding himself a little too alone in these instances, in the top river, in the bot river, in his bottom jungle. It's a rough look.
There's a little bit of ego coming in on some of these builds now. Looks like Envy completing that Magi is now with 12 stacks. Baron being started as well. 2 items completed on most of the players now for HSG Pink. Without the Super Mega Death Rocket, you also don't have any kind of global to look to steal. And this Baron's going to fall, and I expect the Soul to be shortly behind it.
Yeah, HSG just have absolute control here. It is the Baron going down. I'd like to see them reset, get these pushes in, get these last few out or inner towers fallen, and push out for a quick close for the conclusion of this game, because it should be in their ability to do so.
Yeah, and typically this is when I heed teams who are ahead to not just try to clean out or close out the game cleanly. I think we're a little bit beyond that. Like, you can dive towers. I think like Toby Larone and Envy, if they wanted, they can just get on top of Finesse Kermit, and like even in a 2v3, there's nothing there. And the team's not close. They don't know it, but I mean, it's so hard at this point to try to misplay from such a massive 15,000 gold advantage. Just feels like you can do whatever you want. The map is yours. These inhib towers starting to fall as well are also yours. Great job. You landed an encore, but the encore in this game looks like it's going to HSG.
Yeah, there just isn't the follow-up that's able to be found there. Not enough pieces in place early enough. Tosh is going to look for an Abyssal Dive, but he's a bit low. Slatty getting slightly caught out there, is going to use the cleanse. Flashes onto the Draven here. Are they able to find him? Not quite, and that is going to be Darius taking the tower down, while the rest of HSG just happy to come back, reset, and fight this once again. We see Envy starting to join the team there after their reset, and Envy's at the point now where it's essentially one shuriken flip is a kill. So all the resources used there to expend trying to find the shutdown onto Draven, just once again missing out by inches, not quite able to close it out.
Yeah, Slatty is fatty in that fight. Yeah, they had to use both of the summoner spells, the flash and cleanse, now both down, but Slatty not fallen, and no one here on this HSG Pink squad wants to be the one who gives the shutdown, gives that death, and stops this goose egg from happening as the Nexus is getting closed in on. There's the Dragon Soul as well, so as they get lower, the more damage they'll be doing. And This is looking miserable already. Toby Larone getting behind, wants to fight.
Yeah, we see the side of HSG just coming here, diving in between the towers, stopping the abyssal dive, saying Tahm Kench is not going to go anywhere here. And I do expect this is going to be the last of the towers outside the base falling down. Gloomy going to try and trade over a little bit of gold on the top side. And meanwhile, yeah, Max trying to find Slatty, but Slatty says no, just going to take him down while HSG relentlessly keep up the push in the bot lane. That is going to be the final non-Nexus tower going down. A barrel not quite going to knock it into the teammates, but that is of little consequence as HSG is just freely waltzing in through the rest of the base here. Still has Baron, has the Dragon Soul, is going to look for a close imminently. Encore is not quite going to hit. Mike walking away, and this is what I think is going to see the last push here. Second inhib going down, third in their eyes.
Hey, it was 0 Dragons, 0 Barons, 0 kills, but hey, Gloomy got a tower in the top lane. It's not a complete shutout here. At least there was one tower going down.
Yeah, one
I don't know
tower.
if that's worth celebrating, but something.
Yeah, one tower and one rift, keeping it from being the perfect game. But now 3 inhibitors down, we're going to see these Omega super minions starting to crash into cosmic space. I want to see HSG just take one final reset here, finish whatever buys you need, and come finish it. But HSG looks like they want to stay on the map. Says, you know, what we've got is good enough. Maybe
yeah,
just
they got like 6,000 gold just sitting around in their inventories that they're choosing not to spend. And yeah, as you said, they don't even seem to care.
Yeah, 4 members kind of wandering around the mid lane a bit of a desynced back from Envy trying to spend a bit of gold, but not sure that matters too much. Nerdmax once again caught in the own jungle, and the Blast Plant is even going to get denied, going to take Bazing into the Death Realm, but Bard doesn't care. It's just going to portal out of there, get the follow-up stun, and the rest of HSG is there. Toby Larone unstoppable on the Darius.
Now, Envy might be looking for a style play here, level 15 themselves. The scaling has not scaled, and now you have these Omega minions crashing in. Does Envy want it?
Yeah, it
not be taking the sure you can flip.
Yeah, Taj still taking massive chunks of HP to all of Kali's abilities here, and this is going to be the final 2 towers falling. Toby Larone just tearing apart their Seraphine as well. That's both towers down. The Encore is going to hit Envy, but not sure Envy is going to take much mind to that. Gloomy getting pummeled a little bit on the side. Envy getting low, but is going to survive. That's going to be game 1 closed out in a dominating fashion. First win over to HSG Pink.
Oh, it's hard to get any more dominant than that, Potato. Holy smokes. 0 kills. Shut them out of the entire game. The only death coming from Slatty on the execute under tower in early game. But 0, 22, and 0 the scoreline for Cosmic Paradox in that first game. And this is shaping up like anything out of the series. This might be a quick one.
It might, yeah. And I don't want to say it was entirely hopeless. We did see some plays in the early game where it was just barely not in the favor of Cosmic. And maybe if some of those skirmishes went the other way, we would have had a more competitive match. But as it stood out, it was advantages across the map, all 3 lanes, finding leads for the side of HSG, and they were able to just push it, find the map movements, close out, get the objectives, and finish a 27-minute game in absolutely crushing fashion.
Yeah, it really was. I mean, you said we need to see them get an advantage to not get scaled out, and HSG Pink did that basically as cleanly as possible. Really, really well played to them. Big congrats. The damage charts, I mean, the one top in the charts there is Envy here at the end of game 1 here. 20,000, over 20,000 damage in that game. Second highest being Draven there. So, I mean, Slatty had a great performance, 5-1 and 3, but the big carries there were really these solo laners from HSG Pink.
Yeah, solo laners really just pushing out the members of Cosmic, making it so hard for them to play the game. We saw there were some moments, right, Taj was getting the advantage of a trade onto Toby Larone, but decided to commit onto the extended trade where Darius really just got all his stacks and shuts him down with the ultimate. So yeah, we had some moments of individual promise there, but ultimately just not able to translate that into any team advantages for Cosmic. So we'll have to see if game two they're able to pull out something a little bit stronger to match the aggression from HSG.
We'll have to see how these teams adapt going into game two. We're going to take a short break as we get settled. And on the other side, it's going to be game two of HSG Pink versus Cosmic Paradox. Draft has started for game number two here of HSG Pink and Cosmic Paradox. 74% of viewers with their channel points thought that HSG Pink was going to take it, and they did dominantly in that first game here. This is the best of three. Cosmic Paradox has swapped sides, so now they will be playing on the red side. We'll have to see how drafts change, but so far bans are looking pretty standard.
Yeah, on the side of HSG, I mean, if it doesn't work, don't, or if it's working, don't change it.
Yeah.
But Cosmic Paradox looking like they're putting out the same first two bans as well. So I would like to see them make some draft adjustments. To me, that last game, it seems like they just didn't quite have enough agency to do anything around the map once they fell behind. With scaling champions in so many lanes, you just don't really have a response once things start going awry. So I'd like to see them pick things that have a bit more playmaking potential in this game. We do see the Darius taken out as a response to game one, so that is an encouraging change.
Yeah.
But we'll see if we have any other draft adaptations coming in for this second game.
Yeah, you're right. That is the only draft adaptation though that is being shown so far in this game is just that Darius ban. And that was something they picked up in R5 of the first game. So maybe they thought they would have just blinded it here. I mean, and now HSG Pink, now we can talk about Slatty's Jinx here. It was taken away. Cosmic Paradox denied it in the second rotation here. In this game, Slatty's just saying, just give me the Jinx, give me my comfort. Already played well through the first game and now wants to take that for himself in the second one.
Yes, sadly looking for a bit of a redemption after that tower dive on Draven, but the rest of the game was very clean from him. So maybe a slight bit of an ego pick. I mean, certainly comfort, but Jinx B1 sometimes can be a little bit dangerous. It certainly was punished by HSG when Cosmic tried to do the same thing last game. See, Cosmic is choosing to run the Mordekaiser back once again for the second game. Saying that wasn't an element of our team comp that was a big issue, waiting to see what their R2 response is going to be.
Yeah, you're right. They got a couple responses, and we have to see what the punish is going to be. Yone feels like maybe a potential good answer to be able to get on top of Jinx. I mean,
okay,
I don't expect that to go bot lane, but... Oh, there's the other brother.
Yup, the brothers going at each other. But yeah, Yone, absolutely a champion. I mean, I'm liking this pick. It is terrifying if it starts to get any sort of resources. And Master Yi coming out on the side of HSG. We want to talk a little bit of scaling. Jinx, Yasuo, Yi. These three champions, they're gonna become big threats later on in the game if you let them.
Yeah, those are some scaling options. Like you said, Cosmic Paradox has to have a response. They were the ones who opted into the scaling in the first game. HSG, I think they're just saying that they don't need to play early aggressive to still win here. Lulu, I mean, that's such a great blanket out answer. That's kind of the counter to Master Yi here if you're not thinking outside of Rammus, but that polymorph can absolutely shut down a Master Yi in a team fight.
Yeah, I want to see more ability to lock down. I want to see Cosmic hopefully take away some other enchanter answers on HSG. If any of these members get ahead, it's just going to be really scary. So maybe looking to deny like a Yuumi pick. I don't know if it's something that they play, but could certainly work well with this call. Now, I played against a Yuumi Master Yi bot lane once, and that evil was pretty scary once.
Yeah, if I'm Cosmic Paradox, though, I would ban the Soraka here on R5 because that's something, like I was saying, that Big Twink has so many games on. Oh, I guess never mind. That's not even their support. They don't even need to ban it. Bazing, if he's going to play Bard again, that's fine. Most plays like Senna, Pyke, some of those things are already banned away. You can give him Senna.
We'll see what the pick is gonna be. I think Senna in this case would be maybe a little bit of ego as well.
Yeah, a lot of AD.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of AD and a lot of fragility for HSG if they decide to go that route. But We'll see if they choose to do so or not. Ornn is going to be taken away as a top lane pick. Certainly a brick wall that can deny some of the resetting that HSG would like to pick up as we look towards the final ban. Cosmic is going to take out the Shen. Okay, a nice Warden that would give HSG some options, and certainly strong with the ability to show up anywhere on the map. A great competitive tool. I always like that kind of remove.
Yeah, but I'm surprised none of these second half bans actually deny any kind of knockups. I kind of want to see Toby Larone likely playing. I mean, they have Gragas games themselves. They could just pick a Gragas here, but something else maybe with a knockup to help enable the Yasuo to get on the backline. I mean, granted, there's no backline locked in for Cosmic Paradox at this point outside of the Lulu, but I want to see if maybe they want something else to enable this Yasuo pick in the mid lane.
Yeah, we will see if that does end up coming out. Gragas Yasuo is certainly a very, very potent combination, especially if the enemy team decides to clump at some point. And okay, it's going to be the Kai'Sa as an answer into the Jinx.
Yeah, so my statement stands. Still really no backline, right? Like they picked like this Seraphine along with the Jinx in the last game and wanted to have some of that kind of access. But here, Kai'Sa wants to be just as close to the team as Yone and Mordekaiser do, it feels like. So, I mean, they're playing aggressive, but they're not really playing early game, it doesn't seem like, from Cosmic's draft so far.
Yeah, and it is a slight disconnect on the bot lane as we do see the Gragas come out for HSG. I do think Kai'Sa Lulu here is a slight disconnect. Usually Kai'Sa a champion that does want to have some CC in the bot lane to enable those kinds of stacks going on, and Lulu a champion that likes to kind of stay near their carry, whereas Kai'Sa is looking for opportunities to dive the backline. Renata is going to be the one rounding out HSG's draft, a great enabler for any of the three carries, giving them a second HP bar as well. And of course, you can never discount the power of that ultimate. Can be game changing.
It absolutely can be. You throw that through a couple of these abilities and these champions with the attack speed built in, Yone will cut through his own team here. So you're right, gives a lot of ability as well as deniability with that kind of champion picked up here. And K'Sante is going to be the answer to Gragas. I mean, they're flexing this Gragas mid jungle. I mean, there's a chance it's Master Yi top, but I do expect just to see that this is ultimately just going to be this Gragas top. That's something Toby Larone plays as well.
Yeah, most likely. And K'Sante is going to be the R5 pick for Cosmic. I think this champion is really strong. I mean, it's been showing up in competitive matches in the preseason. And in the times I've had the chance to face it, if you give a lead, it's really terrifying. So overall, I like this draft from Cosmic a lot more in this game too. It looks like they have a lot better tools to be able to make plays around the map and have some sort of answer to early and mid game plays from HSG. HSG here looking again towards a lot of really strong carry performances, wanting to get the mid ahead, wanting for Master Yi to get ahead, wanting to get Jinx ahead as well. If these champions are able to hit their spikes, able to hit a point in the game where they can just run in and start killing enemy champions, that's going to be really great for them. But Yone, Mordekaiser, Kai'Sa, these are champions that can really explode the picks from HSG too. So if you don't get a Renata kind of denying in that kind of engaged pylon, it can be hard for HSG to play. So definitely a more promising look from Cosmic, in my opinion, for their game two. We'll see how they execute on it.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, both these teams, look, they have an all melee topside on both sides. HSG Pink and Cosmic Paradox have drafted 6 melee champions in the mid jungle top lane. So, I mean, I think that does signal more some brawling as well, and these fights are going to be next to each other and close and scrappy. And then Renata, Jinx, and the Lulu Kai'Sa, those bot laners are the only ones who provide any range to either team. There's not huge wave clear necessarily, especially for Cosmic Paradox. Ways to clear out these waves, and siege potential, especially with all these melee characters, becomes more challenging. So makes the macro, the map play movement more challenging in breaking towers. But I mean, hopefully for us, it means there's a lot of brawling in the second game.
Yeah, not really wonderful wave clear on either team. I mean, Jinx has
maybe Jinx, yeah. If you go Hurricane, the Rockets, Gragas kind of, but you're right. Not like an Anivia or Victor that can just laser beam the wave and just knock it out in a couple seconds.
Yeah, so I really think it will be coming down to the team fights here. How well is Cosmic Paradox going to be able to target select to watch for key members, key abilities from the side of HSG, and how well is HSG going to be using their tools to enable their carries to get ahead? Will it be a repeat of last game when we see a stomp? I think it's a little bit less likely. I think certainly Cosmic has better chances in this game, but really it comes down to the players and the teams.
And if they get one kill, they've already outperformed the last game, right? So
True.
the bar for Cosmic is not the highest. So we'll have to see. You've heard our thoughts, but we want to know yours. Who will win game 2? Let us know in that prediction chat. We are just on the edge of a spectator delay, and then we will be getting into game 2. Lock in your votes with channel points now. Will HSG Pink take the 2-0 sweep, or will Cosmic Paradox make this a series and force us to game 3? You're just going to have to stay where you are and find out when we are back. We did not want to keep y'all waiting, but the team is waiting themselves. Sounds like there might have been a poop break going on or something. So it is paused, but we are ready for you. The players are not, though. So we're just waiting for setup to happen.
Slatty out here proposing a Connect 4 match, so hopefully trying to find a win both on the Rift and on the Connect 4 board. But yeah, meanwhile, we got all the champion picks and the summoners coming out. We see K'Sante with Ghost pick. Is this something that you've run into very often?
No, not a lot. Taj may be introducing some new tech at this level. I guess they want some sticking power here onto some of these other melee characters, and I think that is something that K'Sante can provide. Flash, I mean, thinking about, K'Sante's kit that I'm still figuring, like I'm learning myself, doesn't feel like it's necessarily needed for having a Flash. But I mean, maybe the Ghost just allows him to hang on to some of these other melee characters.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose he does have like 3 dashes in his kit already, so, could potentially be sufficient there. Looking at the rest of the map, though, it does look like a significantly less kill pressure across the board compared to that game 1. I mean, the Gragas versus K'Sante matchup, I'm not really expecting any one of these champions to really start solo killing the other all over the place. We see the Yasuo Yone matchup. We got the Ignite versus Exhaust, so that'll definitely be something that I'm keeping my eye on. If either mid lane here gets an advantage, it can spell very bad news for the other team. Meanwhile, on the bot lane, both sides going with a Guardian and a Heal Exhaust, so trying their best to not die here on either side.
Yeah, and you mentioned the mid lane here. Remember, this was Finesse Kermit blind picking the Yone on R2 in this last game, and Envy picked it as a response here. So we seem to be unpaused. I'm 10, 11, and now 12 seconds into this game, and I hope that at least that gets us back going into this one.
Yep, same on for me as well. And for matchups wise, are there any side you're looking to see as one way more favored to the other? I mean, jungle wise, I don't really know how Yi Mordekaiser is supposed to match up.
It's an interesting matchup. I mean, I think Mike on that Master Yi is likely planning to play just a little bit more safely here. Getting a little bit of a freeze, but now we're back into it. It feels like the Master Yi likes 1v1 duels typically, but Mordekaiser just starts burning that champion down. If Mike can dodge some of those key abilities from Mordekaiser, the Q and the E respectively, right? Some of that obliterate, that solo target damage is actually like so much higher. It's like 1.5 times what you typically get. So, I mean, if you can dodge that as Mike, maybe you got a chance here when you get an item there. Otherwise, I think Mordekaiser can just kind of stand there and smack you down. But I think that is going to be kind of neutral, but both these characters not bringing a whole lot of CC to their teams.
Yeah, makes sense. And Yi, without a more traditional enchanter propping him up there, maybe going to be a little bit less potent in that 1v1, at least early on in the game. And bot lane, I've played the Renata Lulu matchup a couple times before, and Lulu sometimes with a easier to achieve range advantage can be a bit of a bully into Renata at times. The thing I've seen Renata's struggle most into are range discrepancies. If you find yourself in against like artillery mage support, it can be a really bad time in lane. But Jinx is going to have a bit of range back on Kai'Sa as well, so maybe that will neutralize things a little bit more as all of the players starting to head into lane here. And Bazane just wanting to get very aggressive on both sides of HSG's bot lane, just stepping past the river here, getting traded on a little bit against by the Cosmic bot lane. We'll see if It's certainly not as much of a repeat as game one here. We'll see if they're able to find the same sort of advantage.
Yeah, Bazing just seems to like to play these aggressive matchups bot lane, whether it's the Bard or Renata now we're seeing in game two. Bazing's not afraid to pass that kind of battle line there. Slatty doesn't mind shoving this wave and kind of forcing Gloomy to just pull the wave and try to get the last hits under tower. And already he's going to be dropping just some minions, and Big Twink not helping at all on these last hits. So just letting Gloomy just lose minion after minion to the tower.
Yeah, and if they are going to get repeatedly pushed into tower like this, that is going to be bad news on the side of Cosmic. I would like to see them trade in a little more heavily, especially if Renata is going to walk past the line repeatedly without the support of the Jinx here. Kai'Sa Lulu, certainly a lane that does have the trading capability to get back a little bit. But yeah, for now, we're seeing just a really nice advantage coming on for the side of HSG spot lane, again, for the second game.
Yeah, and I mean, and in game one, Gloomy was the one piloting the Jinx, and I think Slatty, even at that champion, is just showing mastery once again. Seems like just taking it to Gloomy in the bot lane in both these matchups, and I think it definitely cannot be understated the impact that the supports are having too. Bazing just applying the pressure. Gloomy Big Twink want nothing to do with it. Yeah, they're okay farming under tower, but they're not getting the farm either. And with Big Twink not prepping these minions here, it's just minion after minion getting lost to the tower.
Yeah, and we see with each wave, the CS discrepancy is going to grow just a little bit more. Bazing certainly playing a lot more confidently in this lane matchup, not afraid to walk up. It looks like Cosmic are giving HSG spot lane a lot of respect here. Maybe a little bit more than I would like to see ideally given the matchup, but you know, I would trust the players to do what they see as best in this situation. That Nerdmax is going to come down, is going to try and find it into Envy here. Yone forced a snap back, so Envy and Max in a 1v1. Max is going to buffer that Q3, but does not have the final Q to finish off Envy. Envy forced to burn both summoners, but is going to survive.
Yeah, Envy used a flash and then still got hit from Nerdmax's Death Grasp, pulling them back, and then Envy just ignited, was able to walk their way out. Both, or it looks like one Scuttle Crab, Nerdmax does at least get the Scuttle Crab. Bazing did want to move up to try to contest it, but junglers seem to be even here. Back to that second rotation. I mean, it's a little bit quieter of an early game than we saw in the last one here. So we'll have to see if there is going to be action. But with some of these kind of just brawlers across the map, unless there's team fights or things to fight over or numbers showing up, the back and forth looks like it's just going to be just trading farm.
Yeah, certainly a lot quieter than it was last game. Not as much scuffling going on. Nerdmax getting a bit of a steal, I would say, for that Scuttle Crab there, considering how low he was coming out of that mid fight, but he's not quite able to make it in time. We do see here Slatty is going to take the first reset, finishing up that Noon Quiver, which is a good chunk of gold ahead. Kai'Sa about 300 gold behind here already in this early game as a result of that CS discrepancy.
Yeah, and got a name just looking at some buys now. First reset, it is not Gloomy able to get back yet, but
yeah, before that,
Hermit is in trouble.
Hermit, yeah, getting trapped in by a great roam. 3 members coming through. Burning the Flash is going to temporarily survive, but that's Gragas coming in from the top lane. Surely he's not going to get out here. Fnatic Mike really wanting to pick up this kill should it be possible. Looks like it is. Q1, 2, 3, 4 getting the hits in. Finishes it off. First blood to Master Yi. And here's Bazing getting ready to return to the bot lane. Quick roam up and down, helping out his team.
Yeah, that is going to be that first blood like you named, and that Nerdmax doing nothing so far. We do see Jak'Sho being the most common item right now. Maybe after this little bit of changes and some nerfs in this most recent patch, they'll fall off some of these champions. But with that Nerdmax, we're looking to rush that item. It means you're denying so much damage early game that Master Yi is going to be able to have. So I would have liked to still see maybe a Demonic Embrace as the primary item for Nerdmax before opting into the tank stats, because you're providing so little damage here. And Mordekaiser's not known as someone with insane AP ratios, but there are some here, right? It is still 60% on the Q, up to 90% with the ISO. So they do value from having just a blasting wand in their inventory, and I would have liked to maybe see a little bit more intentional itemization from the jungle matchup.
Yeah, Mordekaiser, once he hits that level 6, does definitely want the threat of the Death Roam to be really real. In order to have contributions in these fights, he's going to need to be able to isolate a carry and chunk them down pretty heavily. But the Resist trying to survive, it does offer value, but maybe less so. But yeah, here's Yasuo aggressing onto Kermit. Kermit buffering the handshake very well from Bazing, trying to aggress back a little bit more, but is not quite going to find it. Living once again, but again, it is the support on the side of HSG repeatedly able to find these roams. And now Max is the one in the 1v2 is going to get the buff from Bazing. And surely Max is not living here. Yeah, the Q follow from Fnatic Mike, just timing that so perfectly against the flash from Max, is able to pick up the second kill, and Master Yi here is gonna start being a problem unless they find an answer to him.
Yeah, Mike greater than Max confirmed. It felt like that Alpha Strike following Nerd Max's flash over the wall was perfect timing, and Mike had already hit that level 6 from the first blood as well. Yes, you did have Nerd Max picking up the little bot Scuttle Crab, but his death and then a dragon on the back end of it. Great job from Fnatic Mike to once again dominate this jungle matchup in game 2.
And you got the farm advantage, the kill advantage. This Bork looking to get an early finish out here as well. Even in the mid lane, we see as these two champions trade back and forth on each other, Envy getting the advantage of Kermit here, able to win all these Q3s. Kermit looking, just missing that Q3 on the back end there. Envy maybe fancying a bit of a dive, but it's just
tower shots there.
Tower shots instead. But you know, just hoping evening out the HP advantage here a little bit, trying to not make it too unfair for his opponent, I suppose.
Gotta give an advantage over here in the top lane. Cosmic Paradox, Taj taking it to him 1v1.
Okay, yeah, that is the K'Sante play we are looking for. Taj being that hope that Cosmic wants to be able to stay in that game. Just excellently executed there, using his ultimate unstoppable, buffering against Gragas's barrel knockback, finding a fantastic answer in the 1v1 and a 30 CS advantage as well. So top lane looking really well for Cosmic.
Yeah, now Toby Larone forced to use the teleport to get back to lane. Taj, if they can run, can have that still for themselves. I was going to credit them for being up 30 farm, but immediately picking up the solo kill. Now, you're a guy who's got the Aegis of the Legion, but using that all out, so many of those resistances converted into damage and Omnivamp. So because of that, Taj got the damage they needed to get the solo kill in the top lane. Now, Nerd Max and Finesse want to stop this Rift Herald from being taken, but Mike does not seem to be worried at all.
Yeah, you just don't have the numbers here. Taj taking that reset after the kill, getting the wave in, is going to mean that they will have to lose the Rift Herald here. That first early Herald going on to HSG, they're certainly going to be happy about that.
And tower plates continue to be punished in the bot lane for HSG Pink. Slatty and Bazing now have taken 2 plates for themselves. The opposite tower just taking 145 damage, just a sliver off of that. So that gold advantage already steadily in favor of Slatty in the bot lane. But across the map, the story looks a little bit different because K'Sante, 1,000 gold up just in the individual solo lane for Cosmic Paradox. So let's see if they can keep abusing this advantage and abusing Toby Larone, because right now your eggs are in the top lane basket.
Yeah, absolutely. And if K'Sante does end up getting ahead here, he is going to be just an absolute terror.
Yes, absolutely. He will be. This is a champion that you typically don't think of as a 1v9 kind of champion, but K'Sante can still get incredibly scary and at least disruptive enough to let Gloomy do the damage in these team fights. But now Toby Larone stepping up a little bit, but here's the Nerd Max.
Yeah, a 2v1 in the top lane here, trying to find the Gragas. Are they going to be able to get it? The K'Sante Q3 does pull him in. The Gragas barrel not quite finding the disengage. That is going to be Toby Larone going down.
Yeah, but a great counterplay on the bot side here. Mike was able to shove Gloomy and Big Twink off, drop the Rift Herald, get that first tower. Yeah, Toby Larone been 100% of the team's deaths in this series. But meanwhile, a great counter from HSG Pink in the bot side.
Even going to get the second Rift Herald charge going down in that bot lane, using the consistent bot prio that HSG has been able to secure, in addition to the Herald pickup, getting the entirety of the first tower. But here's another scuffle in the mid lane. Finesse Kermit trying to live. Oh, is going to do so with the flash. Wow, just getting out by the skin of his teeth there.
Yeah, I felt like you played that a little Slatty with the snipey getting the kill.
Okay, yeah, Slatty Daddy sending out that rocket mid lane, picking up the finish on the kill there.
Yeah, Finesse played that all the way to his limits on the Yone. I mean, did have a great escape, we thought. Guy getting under tower, fate sealed to get him out to safety, flash, and then tornado. That dude Max wants revenge for his mid laner, but will not get it. Envy happy to walk out and might be envious that he wasn't the one who picked up the kill, but ultimately it's another kill on the board for HSG Pink.
Yeah, and this early game absolutely looking a lot better for Cosmic compared to the previous one. Certainly not hopeless like it was before. And K'Sante even finishing out his Mythic here, that Jak'Sho was going to start doing work. But really, this story has been a story of top lane versus bot lane. Jinx 1.5k ahead here of the Kai'Sa, whereas on the top lane, a similar gold lead coming out for the K'Sante. Kermit kind of wants to find Bazing here, but isn't really going to be able to trade back. Envy now is going to get the solo ulti, but the supports are here. Lulu is not going to be able to find the ult, and Big Twink is going to go down. That bit of a mis-execution here, and now Nerd Max is going to be the one isolated against 3 of them. Slatty going to find the second kill pickup here. A bit of a mistake, and that's going to cost them the dragon, and 3 kills, not what you're hoping to see if you're Cosmic.
And plates in the mid lane. Felt like off the back of Finesse Kermit going a little bit too hard, too fast without the team. I'm surprised that Big Twink did not get the wild growth down on themselves or on Finesse Kermit. They were trying to run and there was no play, and I think Finesse just went a little bit too hard, especially not having that ultimate available yet. So now, as you said, second tower, second dragon as well. All of a sudden, this game that looked close has exploded for favor of HSG Pink.
Yeah, and it's moments like these where, you start finding multiple kills, getting these objectives off of 1 or 2 individual mistakes that can really turn the tides. But Taj still wanting to keep himself in the game. Toby Larone just going to barely get out once again. And now Finesse Kermit is going to be the one in a 1v2. But this time he does have the ult. Is he going to be able to find it? Lulu is going to try, well, top lane Toby Larone, and Taj is going to die to the tower. And now Bazing flashing forward for the handshake. Finesse Kermit trying to finish it off, but one auto away. Meanwhile, Master Yi on the bottom just absolutely soloing out the Kai'Sa, the big mega death rocket. Slanty going to find Lulu as well, and it just wins once again all across the map for the members of HSG, and this is where the game explodes.
Yeah, and all of a sudden this game went from being interesting to being over. Yeah, you got 2 kills, and that's an infinite % more than last game. However, both of them on the backs of Taj, 1 kill and an assist. Meanwhile, Finesse Kermit with that blind pick Yone is not paying dividends. I don't know how much you finessed Kermit for that pick, but we got to talk to Elmo about that one, because I think you got to get off of Kermit and onto Sesame Street with this kind of performance.
Yeah, definitely not the one you're wanting to find. Envy is going to consistently find the advantage in these 1v1s.
Yeah, and it just feels like, I mean, items now completed getting across the board for the side of HSG Pink. We see that Blade of the Ruined King already done for Master Yi and almost onto the Rage Blade as well. We have the Mythic item completed for the mid laner as well with that Shield Bow. Kraken Slayer for Jinx now 4-0 with 450 gold, 500 now shut down on top of that. And Bazing staying deathless in the bot lane has their Shurelya's able to press the go button and go all out themselves, even though they're not K'Sante.
And with Jinx so ahead, Yi so ahead, and Yone getting the win in this 1v1, looks like it is just going to be HSG. Taj once again trying to find the solo, but the rest of HSG, just like in previous games, is here to bail out their teammates. Toby Larone now acting as the frontline warden, making sure that the members of Cosmic are not going to approach this Rift Herald. And now it's looking like Herald, this top tower, all going to continue to fall, continue to extend this now 9,000 gold advantage at 16 minutes.
Yeah, Toby all of a sudden, after losing the solo kill, has played great, getting the outplay under tower. Taj playing too aggressively then. And then, as you said, the team, HSG Pink, they're playing as an organization, it feels like, Potato. Like, they are playing together. They are rotating first. They are getting the picks. And once again, that Nerd Max, you were on the wrong side of the map, buddy. That's going to be the 12th kill this game for HSG Pink.
Yeah, and the way it went down in Game 1 is going to be the same way it went down in Game 2, getting caught out solo in the jungle once again. And yeah, like you mentioned, just a stronger team coming out, stronger team play, stronger individual play. Gloomy now starting to get bolted down by Slatty just on a tiny bit of HP left. The Death Rocket going to find the catch there. That's the third one long range today, finding another finish. Finesse Kermit trying to aggress onto the mid lane, but likely not going to be able to find fruit from the result of that. Fnatic Mike is going to go legendary. K'Sante trying to find the ult trade back onto Mike, but Mike does not give a care in the world. K'Sante somehow managing to find a stay alive there. That NerdMax going to get the final hit onto Master Yi, but it is a small consolation prize as the rest of the base is just falling apart.
Yeah, the inhibitor taken now at 17.5 minutes. The consolation prize does mean 1,000 gold into NerdMax's pocket and their second kill of this game, but the base is in shambles and so is Cosmic Paradox here. Yeah, you got a little bit more items here, but look what NerdMax is using that gold for. It's more tank items at this point. So just trying to get to the point that they can maybe like tank up some of this damage, but sometimes this far behind, offense is going to be the best defense. Because you're at a point with your backs against the wall, it feels like, not even at 18 minutes, that you just got to try to find some picks as 5. But we know that Cosmic Paradox has not been able to execute on this kind of win condition.
And just the finishing power there is not existent for Cosmic Paradox. I would ask them on the side of HSG to take Baron, close out the game, but Baron hasn't even spawned yet. That's how dominant this second game has been. After a mostly calm early game, it just has exploded in the middle. Tosh once again trying to find a kill, but it's a 1v3 turning into a 1v4. Toblerone exploding him. That's going to be K'Sante going down. That's going to be the third dragon going over, and that's HSG just taking another commanding lead.
Yeah, it feels like HSG shows up in a lane or in a part of the jungle and just one member of Cosmic Paradox just happens to be there. And so they just pile on him, take what they want, get the objective, and then keep going. Like, I have not seen more than 2 or 3 members from Cosmic Paradox on the screen at the same time in this entire series, it feels like. Just HSG Pink playing as a unit, moving around the map as a team, taking now their second inhibitor of this game. I don't even know if we're going to see that purple worm spawn because they're already onto the Nexus Towers.
Yeah, absolutely. The movements are clean. The coordination is clean. The numbers advantage is there. Another Super Mega Death Rocket looking to finish, but is not going to be able to find it. K'Sante pulling in, getting a nice Q3 onto all of the champions, but Yasuo has something to say with it too. Going to take down Gloomy. Slatty is going to take down K'Sante. The Yone is just evaporating the moment he gets ulted in. That is going to be Max falling down likely for the 4th time this game. Slatty in a 1v1, but the lack of damage is going to mean that he's not going to be able to find his Slatty staying alive. That is him going godlike, and that is going to be the Nexus going down. 2-0 victory, once again commanding, going over to HSG.
HSG with another dominant, commanding, absolute stomp of a performance in this second game. We got to change the name of that Jinx Ultimate to the Slatty Mega Death Rocket because this guy was picking up kills all throughout the map, and you see why this guy has such a great win rate and KDA on this champion.
Absolutely, making it look like a targeted ability in this game, finding those consistent cross-map snipes. And here across these 2 games, it was just a bit of a team diff and a player diff. Better coordination, better micro execution in the moments when it matters. HSG getting a very strong start to the season, finding that 2-0 win.
Yeah, they sure did. And I mean, what an amazing performance from them. Oops, I gotta make sure that we got our score right here because that was a 2-0 sweep. The 2-1 there, that looks like how many kills that we saw from Cosmic Paradox in the series here. So it is just one series. It was just 2 games. It felt like there was just a little bit more of a dominant performance in tonight's matches for HSG. But it's still early in the season here, Potato. There's still an opportunity for Cosmic Paradox to make something happen as we move further onto this series.
Yeah, absolutely not out of the running. Just game 1. Plenty of series to play. Plenty of the season left to go. I hope that Cosmic Paradox is going to be able to pick it up and come back stronger for the rest of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. But a quick couple of games for myself and Potato this evening. HSG Pink taking a commanding match score, 2-0 for themselves. Both of the wins to them. And still lots of Season 14 to play and lots of solo queue for you all to queue up for. So as we wrap up tonight, we have to say thank you to all of you for watching. Thank you to our teams for allowing us to cast their matches, for the predictions, for the chat, the conversations. For Style Esports, my name is Llama, casting alongside All Out Potato. We are grateful you were here with us, and we will catch you in the next one.
Take care.